Well, on a day when we all celebrate the re-election of Vladimir Putin with a lazy 108% of the vote, it's time to kick off the first week of the AFL season with an all-new Variety Hour podcast. I'm Sergio Paradise, and I'm joined as always by a man cruelly dumped from Married at First Sight last night. It's Titus O'Reilly.
Oh, thank you, and I'm very excited about the AFL's opportunities in Russia.
Yeah. It's just another market. They'll find their way eventually.
And we've got a guest today, Serge.
We do. We're joined by one of Australia's finest stand-up comedians and comedy writers. Chances are, if you've laughed at anything on the telly or radio the last few years, you'd have been honouring this great man's work. And, of course, he's also been known as the Coles superhero on the TV commercials and was once nominated as a finalist in Cleo's Bachelor of the Year titles. I'm not sure you were aware of that.
No, I wasn't.
He's about to kick off his brand new show, Hold My Beer, at the Melbourne International Comedy Festival. And today he's making his Variety Hour debut. Please make him welcome the great man, Adam Rozenbachs.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Bachelor of the Year. Were you a nominee? Did you go close?
I was a nominee. I would say I didn't go close. I came equal second, let's put it that way, with 49 other blokes.
That yellow and red Coles outfit didn't help, did it?
Mate, that came after that. That's what probably drew people to my my great rig.
Did you find any interest in your love life picked up once you were a Bachelor nominee?
It certainly brings attention to it, but you get just a lot more mocking from your mates. Jealous, pathetic mates.
Jealous mocking,
Can't handle it.
Yeah. Blokes who would never in a million years get nominated for that sort of
exactly.
thing.
And the year that I won, Axel Whitehead won it. So he's proof that if you can get your cock out on telly and still go on to greater things.
I want to start the 50 worst bachelors. That'd be a more interesting list.
That'd be a good podcast.
It's just Wayne Carey 50 times.
Oh, no. But do you visit prisons? Like, where?
That's right. It's a good point.
What level are you starting at?
Well, Matt Lodge in the NRL, he'd go in.
There's a
lot in the sports world, but
so
you're
got
right.
more 50 shittest blokes.
Yeah, pretty
much who it is.
There's been a lot of talk lately about what the line is. Where do you cross the line? That sort of list is a very difficult one as to where you actually draw the line.
Where you stop, it's just hard to whittle it. Much harder to whittle it down 50 worst compared to 50 best.
Yeah, because and people kind of fluctuate. Like, Bernard Tomic, he'd be pretty high up there, but then he'll go and do something.
And nobody's interested in 50 good blokes. They're just boring.
Well, yeah, exactly. Oh, you saved life at a children's hospital, did you? Good on you, fuckhead.
Yeah, good on you.
No one cares about that. You're not counting your millions, are you, dickhead?
Now, you're just from background, tell us the shows you've written for on TV, especially in the footy world, because you're currently writing for the Front Bar, aren't you?
Yes, so Front Bar, and we're back for round one, which is going to be a lot of fun, and then pretty much got into sport writing on Before the Game. So I wrote for Before
which
the Game.
people remember very fondly to this day.
How long did Before the Game run?
It was
I was talking about it
11 years, I think.
Was it that long, was it?
Yeah, so we did 1 year after the game, so we were on at 11 o'clock on a Saturday night.
And
following
that's right.
The game.
Junktime brought it forward.
Yeah, and they kind of let it grow off Broadway, which is a really great way to do things. Not unlike Front Bar did. It started as a web show, and then, Channel 7 late at night, and then they let it find its feet and don't put pressure on it. And then people sort of find it and enjoy it. And then, that's the way Before the Game started. And then...
it's like bringing the rookies through very slowly in the seconds first.
Yeah, like they
Not
used to.
Not do what they did with Jack Watts.
Yeah, and now we know so much about the rookies. You expect them to be, 25 possessions first game, and you go, he's a kid.
People watch
child.
too much NBA, where they go to college, they come in, and
everyone's a Ben Simmons.
They can influence it in one thing.
They're men when they start, because they go through uni, so they come in after college, and they're 21, 22.
That's right. Or some of the 23 are much older.
And they're physically developed as, AFL draftees.
Yeah, you spend far too much time looking at how physically developed they are.
I'm an NBA.
28 to get.
And I don't just watch for the stats, put it that way.
So you haven't even got the sound on.
So you started Before the Game.
Yes.
And then how long did you write at that out of the 11 years, all of it? Or
I had 1 year off. I had 1 year off in the middle. Yeah, just took a sabbatical.
Right.
And then, actually, that's where I met Mick Malloy. I worked on The Nation for that year. And then we went back to Before the Game when Pete Hallier left, and then I went back to it. And it wasn't because Pete had left and come back.
Finally, you're like, good riddance, Pete. I can come back to the show.
It's either me or Strawny. And they went, we'll go with Strawny.
And so what else have you done in that time on TV that people might know?
So I've written on Spicks and Specs, which was a lot of fun, and then currently writing on The Weekly with Charlie Pickering.
And then the footy, the front bars come back. It's going to be Wednesday night this week because of the Thursday game. Is that
so
right?
I think the first 2 rounds are Thursday nights because the following week is Easter. So I think it's the Geelong Hawthorn game on the Thursday night. No, that's the Easter Monday, isn't it?
Yeah, Carlton Richmond is
this week.
Yeah, and then Easter the following weekend, and then it's back to normal
it's Easter
Friday
this week
nights.
as well, which has my panic because I'm doing the Comedy Festival too. And I think you start on the 28th, which is the Wednesday.
The Wednesday, yeah, because I'm only doing 12 shows, so I'm trying to just get as many as I can in, so 12 straight.
So you're doing European Beer Cafe starting March 28th.
Yes.
9:30 you're on stage.
That
I'll put a
right.
link to your tickets in the show notes.
So it's from comedyfestival.com.au.
Do you have I keep panicking thinking it starts this week and then going, I better write the show.
No, that sickens me that you say I better write the show. I've been spending the last 6 months trying to work up this show.
No, I've now written my show. And,
but yours is
you've done
topical,
most of it.
so...
It's mainly, it sort of is, and like there's no laughs in it.
Yeah, no, that doesn't need to.
I didn't realise it was the comedy festival.
You wouldn't be the first show to have no laughs at the comedy festival.
Hey, it doesn't matter if there's no audience.
Yeah.
But I actually started in the media as a panel operator, which is where I met you, Serge.
Yeah, well, that's right. When we were doing the grill team and other things at Triple M many years ago, and Adam was a panel operator there. And got to know each other.
Did you talk to him even though he was a panel operator and you were a big star?
Oh yeah.
Well, I brought his coffee. I was very careful not to spill it.
Did he ever yell at you?
Yeah, very angry man.
Yeah, what a diva. An FM diva.
Yeah.
No, but Adam was a panel operator and was always destined for great things.
So who was doing that show then? Who was the host then?
Well, I worked with you on the Sunday night show with Steve Jackson
and Amanda Blair, who went on to fame and fortune in Adelaide. And we found out, I found out it was quite obvious at the time that they gave us that Sunday night show because Jeff Ellis, the program director and kingpin at Triple M and Southern Cross Austereo at the time, had his eye on Amanda Blair to become a radio personality in another network.
Not his eye on it.
No, not on that.
I thought we were going into a Me Too moment.
No. I would not be defaming Jeff Ellis at this point.
He was one of the because there was always that kind of image around Triple M of the big dog at the top, and you'd go into his office and he had a samurai sword above his desk, and the Art of War by Sun Tzu, and that was how he operated the.
That was his whole thing, and the thing you used to begrudgingly admire about Jeff Ellis is that I think somebody said. A lot of people in the media will stab you in the back, but Jeff will happily stab you in the face.
So your show for the Comedy Festival, is it footy based or just general comedy? What can people expect?
It's just straight stand-up, just sort of shit that's gone on in my last year or two.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You're a veteran of the comedy festivals.
Yeah, this is actually my 10th solo show.
Is that right?
Yeah. So, I've been around a while. I'm starting to notice that too. I'm going into like interviews and chats and stuff, and it's like stuff like comedy legend or veteran.
Yeah, I was about to say, as soon as they start using the word veteran, then you know.
It's a matter of time until we trade you to Brisbane.
Yeah, exactly. And I've been doing stand up now for 18 years.
Is that right?
Really?
Yeah, which just
have you
sounds
nailed
like
it yet?
What's that?
Have you nailed it yet?
Not yet. No, I'm getting there.
That's one of the things. I mean, I used to share a house many years ago with Trevor Marmalade before he started doing the footy show. And we used to have every stand-up in Melbourne used to come to our joint at some stage and have a few beers. And I always thought, geez, it takes at least 10 years, I reckon, to get really good at it. That's what they always used to say.
Oh, thanks.
And
you'll get there.
Which is why I never bothered trying.
Well, it's weird because a lot of people don't see you until you've done that 10 years.
Oh,
when
that's
they
right.
get famous and they think you're overnight. And you're like, no, there's a lot of years
But I've
behind me.
seen you, and the thing about people who've done it a lot and know that is they're just in control on stage. That's the thing I think people pick up. Like the material, obviously, I think gets better just the more you write, the more you think about things. And you develop like what artists always say, which I always used to think was silly until I started writing a lot, your own voice. What
that's
works
exactly
for
right.
you.
Yeah.
It takes you a while to work that out.
You're less likely to shit yourself.
Yeah.
You
have that control and that experience on stage. You can control your own performance and to a lesser degree sort of control the audience in a way.
Yeah,
in that regard.
and when you're tanking, you go, this is what it is, and I'm getting paid, and I will move on.
Thank you and good night.
yeah, exactly.
I will still be alive at the end of this. Like, I will still. My career won't be over after I leave the stage.
Whereas when you're younger and you start to panic and you get cotton mouth and you're just like, oh God, this is, and now
But
you
I've
just go,
got another half hour.
yeah. Now you're like, I couldn't give a fuck. So come along, see a jaded man.
A jaded veteran.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, we should get into. We should also mention. I've been on it a couple of times now. The Junktime AFL podcast.
Yeah, so if you're into your footy,
which is a terrific AFL podcast.
Yeah, it's been fun. I think this is our 5th year. So we're out to about 160
a veteran
episodes.
podcast.
Yeah, it's starting to get out there, and it's just a lot of fun. It's a bit irreverent. We talk a little bit about the footy, but we like the stuff around the footy. Makes us happier.
Yeah, it's good fun. Your podcast.
Yeah, there's absolutely no analysis whatsoever.
Well, let's mention it now. You're a Carlton man, aren't you? You're a Blues man.
Yes.
Right, there you go.
I say that with a vacant stare.
How's this rebuild going?
I think this one they're on the right path.
We both barrack for Melbourne, so we
not exactly going to be.
We haven't
We're not off on
taken the moral high ground here.
I think we're very much on the Melbourne path, which is starting to show signs of perhaps happiness for you guys potentially, maybe.
Although watching last season was that the cruelty at which we lost, the way we
was pretty fucking fun.
Oh, it was pretty.
I knew
it was predictable.
To me,
from a Melbourne supporter, I just knew it was going to happen.
Oh, yeah. And the fact that you lost to Collingwood in the last round was really enjoyable.
Well, that and then having to watch the game the next day,
and watch us effectively lose
again,
and actually just watch a live ladder instead of the game.
The whole time, I was just refreshing on the app because even Channel 7 for the first time in my life weren't showing the live ladder enough. When normally it's like round 1 first game and the live ladder's up there.
It's up there, yeah.
It was, but it's that that saying about comedy,
it's fucked.
Well, yeah, but comedy is, the tragedy is me getting a paper cut. Comedy is you falling down a manhole and dying.
Yeah.
And I felt like that when the Melbourne thing was like, I'm the man that's fallen down the manhole and died. And it's not funny to me, but I can see why this would be pretty bloody funny to everyone else.
It was very enjoyable.
Now, the big announcement that came out on the weekend was that Melbourne is going to host 2 games in basketball between Team USA and the Australian Boomers at Etihad Stadium.
I'm surprised they kept this quiet, to be honest.
They managed to keep it quiet,
they managed to keep it pretty quiet.
Yeah, so that's a huge game because it means that as well as getting Ben Simmons and Paddy Mills and a whole bunch of Australians playing over there in the NBA, it looks like that it's possible LeBron James, Kevin Durant, James Harden, Steph Curry, all these people are potentially going to actually come out.
How many are going to come?
Yeah, it's like when the soccer teams come out and you think, oh, Man United are coming out, and then it's like the youth team.
Well, see, this is the lead up to the Basketball World Cup.
In Turkey.
Yeah, which you got to remember, the last Basketball World Cup, LeBron and Curry didn't play.
And Australia's on the way to Turkey, so why wouldn't you just drop in? Come via Melbourne and Sydney.
It's like doing the international rules training session in Ireland, but training in New York.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's not junket at all.
They need the dough for the extra game, these guys.
Yes. It would be good if what they're saying, and they reckon the USA basketball are saying they are looking at these people, but whether you're right, they actually come. But at Etihad Stadium, what do we think about having basketball at Etihad Stadium? This is a bit like we mentioned couple of weeks ago, the WWE going to be at MCG.
You're going to be a long way.
Yeah,
it could be a long way from the action.
Yeah, in the middle of just after the grand final. So it could be pouring with rain. Well, I don't know if WWE wrestling is a wet weather sport. Do you have to wrestle differently?
Well, is it because that's harder to hit someone with a chair in the wet?
Yeah, I wear long stops.
You need it. I saw Ronda Rousey at Etihad Stadium.
Yeah, so did I.
And so I was behind the goals, I think maybe at the locket end, and you couldn't see shit. Like you had to just watching a big screen.
Yeah.
So there's almost
I was a bit closer than that, but not much closer. And I was on the floor, and I was probably about like 80 rows back because I had heaps of rows. And it was okay. We could see a bit, but you ended up watching way more on the TV.
Well, we're talking about, for this basketball matches, they're going to drop those giant screens from the roof all around the place.
But still, why wouldn't you have it at Rod Laver? Like it's almost purpose-built for it.
Yeah. Well, do you think they'll be able to sell it out for money?
Or Amy Stadium?
Yeah, I think
I reckon Amy would be much better.
Yeah.
But Etihad, they've obviously done the
But
deal.
they want the money, and they're going to have the roof shut. So Brad Scott will be happy.
But what if you're going for a big alley-oop, though? You go really high and it hits the roof. Is that dead? Is that like a dead ball?
Space Jam.
Off the roof, yeah.
Yeah.
One hand and you're out, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I reckon if you're up on the... So I went online because it says there's a waiting list for tickets.
That.
And so I thought, shall I put my name down for the waiting list? And then I looked and it already had some tickets on sale. And I thought, okay. So I looked in. It was all the corporate various packages, right?
Yeah.
And it had all... The prices were just, if you want to be like in the first 10 rows next to the court.
You need to be courtside.
Which basically, they were like, I think it was like $8,000 or something.
Yeah, there was ones
insane.
3,995 per seat up close.
Yeah,
basically.
I mean, that's one episode of this podcast.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Yeah,
that's
it's podcast kind of cash, yeah.
But it's just, I don't know how anyone is going to afford any, companies will buy a lot of those or people who are very wealthy. But if you don't have a lot of money, you're going to be up in level 4 or 3 up the top.
And they'll still be hundreds, a couple $100 each.
See, doesn't that, if you're a North Melbourne person, you just go a basketball game that's 300 metres away, and they can fill the top level, and you go, we've got Good Friday,
and they've probably got a better, stadium.
A better stadium deal.
Yeah. They'll probably make the amount of money in 2 nights that North have made the whole time.
Yeah, that $9,000 seat will cover it.
That's right. So that's pretty weird. Matthew Holding wrote in, any chance that Christian Petrarca and Scott Pendlebury will be given a call up to the Boomers, given their unique skill set?
Have they played basketball?
Apparently
they have a basketball background.
Did you know Brad Green almost played for Manchester United? That almost got mentioned occasionally
and that Todd Viney once beat Boris Becker on the tennis court.
That's right. And Mike Pike played rugby union and is apparently from Canada.
Yeah.
So what do you reckon? Do you reckon they're going to mention every 5 seconds that when they're commentating this, they'll get like Dwayne Russell to commentate this game, and they'll be
I'd love to see a chaos ball in basketball.
It's like LeBron James has a basketball background, which is why his vision on the court is so great. Good. Rodders wrote in, would the second-rate playing surface at Etihad give the Boomers an unfair advantage over the USA?
Well, they'd know to go the fat side of the ground, wouldn't they? They'd know the dead pockets.
Yeah, or the lock-it end. If we win the toss, they've got to go the lock-it end.
Although it's massive with AFL players, isn't it? NBA.
Yeah.
Like they're mad for it.
They are. I mean, we laugh about all the players that did play basketball, but if you ever go into any of the AFL clubs, they'll have player lounges and things now, and TVs everywhere. You'll always find half a dozen of them playing your NBA 2K on the TVs. They're absolutely red hot for it.
Yeah, it's massive. But the NBA is going through a bit of a boom at the moment with Curry and LeBron and everything. It's actually people...
And Ben Simmons has attracted a lot of Australian kids to the game.
Yeah, it's back to where it sort of was when Jordan was dominating.
Yeah, okay.
Which was huge back then, I remember. Yeah, and it wasn't even on TV much then. Steve Carfino used to host it on Saturday morning.
Yeah, there wasn't much NBA on the telly.
No, that was he'd host a highlights package.
There was the NBL where we would watch the Melbourne Tigers take on the Nunawading Spectres.
Spectres, yeah. Did you have either of you have a pair of Jordans?
I didn't.
No, I can't say.
I saved up. I got a pair of Nike Air Flight 3, and they were about $180 in like 1991, maybe.
Right.
Blue
Did
and
anyone
white
try
high
and
tops?
steal them from
Try and
you?
roll them from me. No, I was very careful not to go into the city. And I lived on the Broady line, so I was very careful of doing that.
Because I remember guys saying to me who got them, they were then always talking about hoping they didn't get rolled for them. That was the phrase.
Oh, fuck. And also, the thing is, though, if you're going to get rolled, like, you just got to target someone your size. Like, you don't want to roll someone and go, oh, fuck, you're too small. I'm an idiot.
Yeah, stealing shoes is very specific, isn't
Absolutely.
it?
Yeah. What do you do if they're too small?
You think about my height?
Yeah, exactly.
You've just about got to ask the bloke before you pull the knife out.
Yeah.
I mean, what size?
Do you carry around one of those things that they used to have at the Foot Locker where they put the big foot?
You slide up to
check your arch.
Which is very...
You got inserts?
That's very hard to do to someone at knife point.
Yeah, exactly. They've got to be very compliant.
on a moving train as well.
Yeah. Skills.
The NBL Grand Final is currently going on. I think it's a best of 5 series, and Melbourne United won the first game, which was in Melbourne, and then yesterday the Adelaide 36ers won. And what was interesting, and I got a few questions that came in from listeners saying, Mark Hayward wrote in, no, sorry, it wasn't Mark. Matt Lane wrote in the Adelaide Crows CEO, Andrew Fagan. He attended Game 2 of the NBL playoffs yesterday. Because Adelaide 36ers were in it. Instead of going to the Adelaide Crows women's season-defining game against Collingwood, where they had a chance. So that's equivalent of a prelim final.
Right.
And his CEO of their club.
They were different states, though. You've got to give him that.
No, it was Adelaide. It was in Adelaide.
Oh, no, but the Collingwood...
this was it was the Collingwood Adelaide game. This was Adelaide's CEO.
Yeah.
And he didn't go to the game.
He went to the basketball instead of the girls'
basketball
game.
Instead of the
Is he
the
CEO of the women's team?
Well, yeah, he's the CEO of the whole club. They're part of the same club.
Yeah, right. Well,
Which I thought was pretty strange. If Eddie did that, he got in trouble for not going on a Friday night once, remember?
Yeah, that's true.
Not going to the equivalent of a prelim was pretty strange.
I mean, Joe Gutnick didn't denounce his religion to go to, Friday night games. No. So did you guys ever get angry about that?
I did. I got furious.
Yeah, okay.
Because to me, there's only one true religion.
Yeah, no, that's true, yeah. Your rally outside the MCG was a bit much, but...
That's right. I'm trying to get exempt. It is exempted from tax like religion, the AFL, so there you go. And there was a few others... Tex Walker and Sam Jacobs didn't go and watch them play either. So, didn't have the captain or... the CEO going and watching the women play for a chance, and they all went to the basketball instead.
Well, I think that's just because they didn't want to change states, because that was obviously being played in Adelaide, the 36ers game. And the Collingwood Adelaide game was in Melbourne.
But the CEO
it's a long way to go.
The CEO could have flown over.
It's a long way. He could have driven. Yeah. You go past a big koala. There's a lot to see on the drive to Melbourne.
The basketball in Adelaide,
Are you going to... You're a basketball fan, Serge. Are you going to any of the grand final?
No,
it's Friday night, the next game.
Near impossible to get a ticket.
Yeah, it is amazing.
It was hard enough to get a ticket to see Melbourne United just during the season.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's good.
The memberships basically sell it out.
Sold out every game.
Yeah,
You can always get a ticket, but right the very back row, the back corner. And you want to be close.
You don't do that, do you?
No.
You want to be courtside.
Yeah, you've got to be courtside.
Yeah.
Now, in easily... I was going to say this is the biggest misstep the AFL have made this year, but there's been a fair bit
That's
of it.
That's a big call.
Then I thought about it, let's say in the last few days.
In the last 24 hours.
The AFL have announced, and actually I want to say I don't think this is all the AFL's fault, but I'll go into why. The AFL have said that all the AFL club songs have been re-recorded. The only ones that aren't being re-recorded are Freo's, the Giants, and I think the Gold Coast Suns.
The Suns,
So the bad ones.
The new ones, yeah.
The bad ones have all not been re-recorded, but all the rest, all the good ones have. And the AFL said they've done this because a number of clubs approached them to make minor updates. Some are small ones to lyrics, but a lot of them are, he said, just to give it stronger digital sound quality. Because if there's one thing I've heard footy fans complain about after a match, it's like the
is this analog? Can someone talk to Gil McLaughlin? This is driving me insane. I can hear a compression. I can hear a hiss.
At the grand final, I remember Richmond fans turning around on the final siren as the song played, going, this is ruining it for me.
It sullied it, didn't it?
It really did.
Yeah,
they really noticed.
Yeah, I know. They were furious.
As they sang it so loud, you couldn't hear that.
It's so unlike the AFL when they cop criticism for something, is that they just immediately blame someone else, i.e. the clubs.
Yeah.
The clubs requested this. This is why
we didn't want it.
No.
Well,
we would have left them as is.
Yeah.
So it says here that all the songs that people really know are done by the Fable Singers, which was back in 1972. You were probably in on that recording session,
on Rod Tudor's The Fable label.
So they would have been high on acid when they recorded these.
Probably.
Early 70s.
It sounds like it's from the 30s.
Mike Brady was probably playing guitar in the background.
Yeah, in between orgies, they would have recorded each song.
That's your image of the 70s.
Yeah, fucking oath. And because, who was that movie reviewer? Ivan
Hutchison.
He sang on... He was in the Fable Singers.
And he was the piano player, too, on the Channel 7 Orchestra.
Yeah, it would have been a bit going on that piano.
Hello to his family if they're listening. So the interesting...
No, Ivan hit the deck a number of years ago, Titus.
No, I said to his family.
Oh, okay.
That's why, I did. But the thing I hit the deck is...
Yeah. Serge is
available
for eulogies if you need
a very concerned voice. No, I have to say with respect, Titus, he hit the deck.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Yeah.
So I found this amazing one, I think on two ways. One, that clubs were asking for this.
Yeah.
So you can't completely blame the AFL. Why are clubs asking for this? Because talk about focusing on
Do you believe that, though?
Oh, I do, I reckon, because, one thing that makes me think that is your friend Kevin Bartlett, who you do SEM with, he's been going on about changing that Richmond lyric from risking head and skin to risking head and shin.
Yeah.
And he's been going on that.
He's been banging on about it for a fair while.
He's been pushing them to change it.
But what does that mean exactly? So, because if you're risking...
He says that was the original lyrics. That's why he wants
shin was original.
Yeah.
Was.
So, therefore...
The Fable Singer's got it wrong in 72.
Yeah, he reckons.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, that's what KB
reckons. Well, he would have been there.
Yeah.
He would have heard all the guises of it. So, you're saying then a ruckman who wears the shin guard, you go, mate, you're not putting in.
Yeah.
Toby Nankervis, give us back your medal. No, you're not risking anything.
But doesn't shin skin includes shin to me?
That's a very
So really, what's he worried
Skin
about?
covers
it's
pretty much everything, doesn't it?
It covers all,
Like,
pretty much your whole body.
Yeah, no, it does.
So to me,
the body's largest organ is your skin.
Thank you.
Well, for you. So the thing there is, he's been driving it. So I think the clubs do, but then I think the clubs approach the AFL and they say, we would like to re-record these songs.
Yeah.
The AFL's like the parent. If your kids say, we would like to eat nothing but junk food all day, you say...
You don't have to do it.
No. You don't go, the kids told me how to do it.
Yeah.
So why is the AFL saying yes to this?
And you see...
Is it ruining our great game? Is this the end of our great game?
It probably is. This is the catalyst, isn't it?
Well,
what was the tipping point? You go, it was those new things.
Actually, when this was announced the other day, I made some...
Did you think it was April Fool's?
Well, yeah, but I made some smart-ass comment having a go at the AFL. And a guy who goes by the name of Drunk Logic tweeted me with what appears to be a fairly reasonable explanation as to why they did this.
Right.
Now, he said the licence holder of the songs asked too much to renew the new licensing deal. So if the AFL were to change the songs by 15%, that means they could renegotiate a new licensing deal on the AFL's terms, right?
With all the originals.
Yeah.
So they'd say, we've got these other ones, we'll just play them unless you bring your price.
They don't have to re-record from scratch. They just have to change something by 15%. And then they wouldn't have to pay this exorbitant new licence fee.
So
which sounds like a fiscally responsible thing by the AFL, but they certainly haven't said
But how does that work? So I could get, Bruce Springsteen's Born to Run, change 15% and re-release it.
I think you can because that becomes parody then. That's how they get away with parodies on like comedy shows. They change it just enough.
Look forward to my Born to Run.
Born to Run
album.
tour.
Yeah.
Well, it is too in sort of three-dimensional design, like in products. If you change something by 10 to 15%, you can say, it's not a copy. Like this terrific three-legged chair is not nearly the same. It's not a copy of the four-legged chair.
Yeah, but still, it doesn't get it. Like when you're at primary school and you had the two-stripe shoes on instead of the Adidas. Your mate fucking knew it was a copy.
Knew.
Yeah.
Your cred was shot.
Yeah.
Although you were running around in your Air Jordan, so everyone else was.
Yeah, but he had the Adidas Roams at home.
Yeah. I kept them there. I got the Adi Hash T-shirt from Vic Market.
So who knows what's behind this whole thing, but suffice to say, it hasn't gone down well.
I totally believe the AFL and the clubs were like, let's update them, which is digitally and everything. Now I've listened to them all, and they're all people acting like that it does it. They're not that different. They're just not as good. They don't have the authenticity. They don't have the grunt.
It just struck me, the whole thing is like some bloke in a cardigan at the AFL justifying his own existence. They never do that, Serge. That's a bit he's something that I can do. And
Eddie's already come out and said we're not going to play.
Yeah.
But I mean, Collingwood don't have to pay. If the licensing thing's true, they only play it half.
They don't have to do anything anyway.
To say Richmond will.
What's your beef with people in cardigans?
I just used to work with lots of blokes in cardigans.
Yeah, right.
And never been a fan of your cardigan.
Okay.
He's not.
It's like if it's you're in an air conditioned environment, you got a shirt on, you just pop a cardigan.
Look, I know it's a practical kind of.
It's very practical.
It's a practical kind of thing.
Yeah, right.
But sometimes practicality is not what you're looking for.
And you're not swayed by the latest
in an office environment.
Yeah. You're not swayed by the latest fashion in clothing.
No, exactly.
You've got a timeless style.
What if it's an AFL approved cardi?
Well, see, the last cardi I reckon I had was one of those Sharpie ones. Remember those?
No, mate. I don't.
Was that when you were in the Jets street gang in New York?
Yeah. It was on our way to record with the Fable Singers.
Basically, Serge's childhood was the movie Grease.
Yeah, I like it. I can't imagine that. Like you say, the AFL, the teams approach the AFL. Like, so they get in a big office and they're like, "We want to talk mid-year trades." They go, "No, we're going bigger than that." I'm sorry.
Did you reckon it was the number one thing on the list at the president's meeting last week?
No, Hong Kong AFLX tournament was number one. This was two.
Yeah.
Well, Jeff Kennett managed to speak up and talk about, going into China and India and what a waste of time that was. Yeah. Absolute waste of time. I mean, you got access to 2 billion
Did you suddenly find
members.
yourself agreeing with Jeff Kennett on something? And did that make you feel a bit weird?
Yeah, I just went straight to the pokies after that.
Yeah, I was about to say that. At least Hawthorn, they've now changed the soundtrack to all their poker machines now.
Yeah.
Joel Cumming wrote in, is the AFL just a uni student who procrastinates doing meaningless tasks while big and important assignments are due? That's a very good description of the AFL.
So they go, yeah, but we did an AFLX. And you're like, yeah, but where's the big assignment?
You're like, well, Tasmania. Fix Tasmania.
Yeah.
And they go, well, hang on. I will, but I'm just going to flick around on YouTube and I might just redo these. I might just jump on GarageBand and tweak these songs before I do that.
We booked these flights to Hong Kong. The Gold Coast is not a good team. Yeah, but we're Hong Kong.
Doesn't matter. We're going to Hong Kong.
Okay, what do you want from duty free?
I love Hong Kong. It's terrific.
Yeah, exactly.
Brad Ingle wrote in, do you think there's a competition going on amongst AFL top brass over who can have the worst idea possible this year? Winner gets a mustard jacket.
Oh, okay. You think Gill will give up the jacket?
I think they've got to aspire to something. You think about it, they've had mid-season trades, AFLX and AFLX in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
They've had
international rules in the US.
Yeah, international rules in the US. They've had...
Because the US has been screaming out for that for a long time. They're like, why don't we get a game?
Yeah, there's just... You go
and not your real game. We want your sort of weird hybrid that you guys don't even like.
Yeah,
that's what we want.
You fly LAX and someone hears your accent.
I was about to say...
Oh, you're an international rules player. I'm not, but I love it.
Every time you fly to the States, you get stopped at customs. It's the first thing the bloke asks.
Yeah.
Well, even in South America, you see kids with a round ball. People assume it's soccer. It's not. It's international rules. You just got to fucking
Do you ever
love
think
it.
a sport with a round ball and a rectangle field could take off internationally?
I think once
it needs work.
Once people see the above the crossbar, there's more posts. Yeah. They're like, "Oh, what's that about?" And you go, "That's an over."
Get rid of that. Just have a rectangle goal with a net.
Yeah,
that could work.
Oh, nah. Again,
still needs work.
Because if they miss, then they get a point for it.
Yeah, right.
So soccer doesn't reward that. And that's where kids get excited, rewarded for missing.
That's right, the modern generation.
Yeah.
In fact, they should add another lot of
set,
points beyond.
A sub point.
A half point, a sub point, a super point.
Yeah.
Let's get it. Yeah. We better not give them these ideas.
Yeah, I know. I'll snap them up.
Mandy Johnson said, how has the AFL managed to re-record our theme songs such as they still sound similar enough to render the entire exercise pointless while still taking away the depth of sound that we loved about them?
Mandy's just summed up the entire... We've spent 8 minutes rabbiting on about it. Mandy's just summed up the whole thing in 2
but that's
sentences.
why Mandy can't do a podcast, because it would go for a minute. It would be really insightful and good.
But it is a rare talent of the AFL to be able to pull it off the way she's described it.
Yeah. I'd love to know the budget of it.
Yeah, I'd love to know what it costs. I mean, it's a bit like, I don't know, if you were to buy a paint-by-numbers version of the Mona Lisa and try and sell it or hang it in your house, it just ain't going to be the same.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't trivialise these songs. They're a bit more important than the Mona Lisa.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Well, that's true. But does it open itself to, and this is money down the track, the documentary of the making of? There was Metallica, some kind of monster. Is it going to be this? Like they had to call in a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
It's just all angsty going.
It's just someone.
I've got to nail this rap.
It's head and shin, and they're going. It's head and skin, mate. And then they're calling the mediation.
Yeah, and meanwhile they cross back to the studio, and there's a bored-looking guitarist sitting there going, "Look, it's somebody make a decision.
Yeah, he's
tell me what to play, and
Molly
I'll play
Meldrum's in there going, I don't even know who I am.
What am I doing in here? This is where I recorded the real thing in 1967.
Exactly.
Michael Barbaro asked if we'd be enhancing our Variety Hour themes song for the podcast.
That's not a bad idea.
Should we re-record it?
Oh, give me the master and I'll have a tinker with it over the weekend.
Well, that should be good. What would you put, some jazz flute across it or something?
Jazz flute, maybe a bit of a rap beat.
We should add, you play in a cover band, so you actually are a bit musical, and you have one of those guitar
I've got a keytar.
Do you?
I do, in fact, have a keytar. A Roland AX7. They're very hard to get.
And does that appear at all in this podcast?
It hasn't yet.
We did talk about last year, but it was a bit hard to carry it around.
We talked about taking it on tour and playing the intro music live off the keytar.
Oh, yeah.
Which we may do this year.
Has your estimation of Serge gone up or down following
knowing that I had a keytar?
Yeah, no.
That's the least surprising thing about Serge that you know.
It's sitting about level.
Yeah. It's not a deal breaker, but it's not a big deal either.
We're still scraping.
When was the last time you got it out and use it in anger?
Oh, last year, had a gig.
Yeah. Do you ever just sit around at home?
Bit of Don Henley, Boys of Summer.
I could see you after a Melbourne loss just playing a mournful tune on it in a darkened room.
It's got some great sound effects in it. Without too much trouble, you can do that sound from the shower scene for Psycho. And that's funny.
Right. That'd be good to do.
You creep up behind your wife.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. People love that. Yeah, break into people's houses. I mean, come on, people.
That sort of stuff. If you'd get Bachelor of the Year for that sort of stuff.
No question.
Now, the AFLW Grand Final was decided on the weekend, proving Melbourne can rip my heart out no matter what gender is playing the sport.
Yeah.
Melbourne, it was a great game overall against the Bulldogs. Yeah. On Saturday night. But
very windy.
Very windy. I thought Melbourne were robbed by the umpires, but then I should think that. That's the way it works. It was very close, and it was a great game. They effectively had sort of... It all came down because it's such a short season that final round decided everything.
Well, yeah, we're basically like two prelims.
Yeah, basically.
Which was really good.
And then Adelaide lost the next day to Collingwood, so Brisbane go through. So it's going to be Brisbane taking on the Bulldogs. Katie Brennan looks like not playing because of her ankle, or she'll... They mentioned every 2 minutes, both her and Erin Phillips in the game next day, playing on one leg. Basically playing on one leg, like every second of the thing.
Well, you need to be reminded, because if you forget, then you're a bad supporter.
Do you reckon the AFL have thought this through, the actual scheduling of this? It's being played Saturday afternoon at Princes Park.
About 1:10 round that time, I reckon.
You don't reckon they could have arranged it so maybe this weekend just gone, they could have had a whole build up the entire AFLW Grand Final, the whole shebang. Now nobody's going to even watch it or take any notice because it'll be head to head with the men's games.
Why couldn't it be a pre-game, like before one of the men's games?
Raiser.
Well, they did that last year, and the crowd was up in Brisbane. The crowd was less for the Brisbane game following. People went and watched the AFL.
Left.
It was Brisbane.
So it's true. They had more people at the AFLW Grand Final. So it's a bit like when a band goes on tour with a hot new band.
Oh, yeah.
Or a comics. I've had a few comics say they went on tour with someone as the understudy or the headliner.
The support.
And by the end of the tour, they were opening for them.
Oh, that's never happened to me, but okay.
No, I know somebody's told me that story.
It's encouraging before his show starts next week. Yeah.
Well, no, because it's fine. He's a veteran.
Yes,
doesn't happen to veterans.
That is true.
It's a wily veteran.
I like the idea that it's being played, on a Saturday afternoon. I think it's nice, and I think it'll draw the crowd that it deserves. I think it'll get a good number.
I just think they could have made it a bigger event. If it sort of stood alone and not having to go head to head with the men's round.
Yeah, like the week prior to.
Yeah, the week prior to.
Standalone.
But having said that, it would have been good as a curtain raiser at the G on Saturday afternoon. It would have been fantastic.
Yeah, but in some ways I like it's in. They were going to have it at really the Bulldogs came top, so there's talk of having it at the Whitten Oval, but they thought it wouldn't fit the crowd. The crowd would be a bit too big, so they're moving it to Icon Park, Princes Park, which I think is good because you'll get you get 20,000 there. That'll be pumping, or 30,000 there, that'll be pumping. When if you have 30 or 20,000 at the MCG, as Melbourne supporters, we know that doesn't feel very full.
Yeah.
So and when I went last AFLW Grand Final, I went up to the pub up on the corner, and it was packed.
Right.
It was really good fun. Like everyone was really into it. So yeah, I agree. I think like the way they had the AFLX also over the top of the AFLW this year. When it was the first thing that the AFL's had as a success in a while.
Yeah. They've tried to bury it already.
Yeah, they've already, I think, mishandling it a bit.
Yeah.
But that's not a surprise. They need to record all the theme songs.
All the girls' theme songs need to be redone by the Shantuzis.
With you on guitar.
Yeah, I'll play guitar. Yeah.
Oh, that I'd pay to see. That'd be great.
I think Icon Park will be good though. I went to the first round last year, the Collingwood-Carlton
The one
game.
everyone got locked out of.
Yeah, and that was fantastic. And then I went and saw Carlton and the Saints in the JLT game because I am a sad man. And it's a good
It
round
is good.
to see.
I went to a practice match there a couple of years ago, and actually stood there thinking, gee, it is good standing in one of these old suburban grounds.
And they've got the big grandstand there, just
Yeah.
another great thing John Elliott did for the Blues.
Yeah. No,
Well, it's like
very good.
St Kilda moved back to Moorabbin, and I was down there the other day, and they've rebuilt the whole side, the whole building there. It looks fantastic.
Have they got the disco back?
They've left it there, the St Kilda Social Club.
Yeah,
is still
right.
there. It looks like something from the National Trust.
Yeah, you can still get the same STDs you could get in the 80s.
Don't touch any of the surfaces.
Yeah, get out of there. Wear gloves.
Yeah. Oh, you don't go in there with one of those ultraviolet lights.
You can clone a few players.
It's like people
there's all remnants of Trevor Barker in the corner.
People go in there like it's Chernobyl, dressed in the full.
Yeah.
Lama Bin Wild wrote in, with Melbourne narrowly missing finals across the AFL and AFLW, will the club restructure to focus solely on AFLX going forward? If so, what kind of dynasty awaits? Now, that's a terrifying question for me because the odds of someone at Melbourne thinking that and going, we could be AFLX specialists.
Well, I mean, you've won one. Do you go for back-to-back?
It's pretty exciting even just to think about. To every kid that growing up has dreamt of holding the AFLX Premiership.
No, to be
Cup.
one of three holding the AFLX
up at Hong Kong.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. When you're in Kowloon.
What did you think of AFLX?
Shit.
What did you really think?
I thought it was there was no contests.
Yeah.
And I could see, like, from a team's perspective to get players into it and get their fitness up and stuff, but it was boring. There was no chance to celebrate a goal. The 40-metre line, you're like, they can kick outside 40.
They're professional AFL players. They should be able to nail that.
The way they kept making it, that was really exciting.
Yeah, that was really strange.
A super goal.
Yeah, and you could go from end to end in basically 2 kicks.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like it's not testing their skills at all.
No, it was a training one. It was like
the first training.
Yeah, it was like watching circle work.
Yes.
Basically with no contest, no body contact.
Still, the thing that annoyed me most about it was...
But we'll still take the trophy.
What wouldn't you?
Yeah.
It's treasured.
Classic.
And also, the fact that they changed the silver balls after the first, half of the first game, and I'm like, you can't mess with tradition like that. AFLX and silver balls are synonymous.
I think I found the hardest of all about the whole thing was the AFL's just kind of insisting it was going that we had to like it, and almost being annoyed that people weren't. You know, just if they'd been a bit less sort of, this is going to be amazing.
Yeah.
It's like, we're going to try it, see if it's all right.
But again, just as Adam mentioned, the silver footies, they had to pull them halfway through the first game. It was like, did not anyone there think to maybe have a kick with them before we do this?
Absolutely.
Well, it didn't help when Port wore the exact same colour.
Yeah.
Jumpers.
And also, ground concrete. What colour's concrete? It's kind of silver grey. It's going to be an issue.
There was a few problems with it. Now, did anyone watch the A-League last night? Victory playing
I missed this.
Central Coast Mariners.
I'm savage that I did.
This was... Are you a Victory fan? Or
yes, I am. But I saw the vision. I didn't watch it, but I saw the vision that you're talking about with the goal.
So I was watching this live on Sunday night, and it was going along fine. If you're a Victory fan, they were playing okay, and the 65-minute mark, the umpire noticed that the top left-hand corner of the net had come off the frame. So there was a hole there. Off the frame of the goal. So there was a hole there.
And also, it would take a very specific goal to have that affect anything. Like, you would have to kick it from a certain side.
Yeah, and they got video replay and everything. So even if it had gone into the goal and there would have been a bit of, did it go through, you could have replayed it. But they went, no, we have to stop the game and we have to fix this net. So you'd think that would be a fairly simple thing, like someone there would maybe who put the net up. I don't know.
You would hope that there would, if there were bigger problems at the ground, that they would be fixed easier than this was.
That's right. So it started off, it was sort of a comedy of errors. Like, it just started off where they're sort of trying to work out what to do. Yeah. And there's this FFA match official, A-League match official, who is just standing there like making sure the game doesn't restart.
Hang on, he's got his lanyard on.
He's got his lanyard and
his cardigan.
And he's just standing there doing nothing. He's not directing anyone to, like, come on, you fix it.
Yeah, someone fix it, yeah.
There's no one there, apparently, who
So they're standing around just sort of staring at it.
They're all staring at it, and the game stopped. It's 3 minutes before, because I watched it and I was timing it this morning. It was about 2-3 minutes before anyone even came to really go near the net to actually go, let's have a look at it. And it was one of the assistant, I don't know if it was the assistant coach, but it was one of the coaching staff of the Victory.
Well, because the local gym's net fixing.
They were out
he was on holiday. Yeah, he was out of the local ground.
So they're all saying that no one is making any move. No one from Etihad Stadium, no one from ground operations, nothing coming near the net, right? So they're all
this does not bode well for the basketball.
Oh,
like, if that net comes off, that game is going to shut down. Like, no wonder LeBron won't come.
That's right.
If you can't guarantee me net
LeBron
safety.
lifting Steph Curry to fix it. So anyway...
Just put a bit of gaffer tape on the backboard, you know.
It's
So they're all mulling around doing absolutely nothing. So then what actually does happen is this coaching staff member of the Victory and the goalkeeper... They start to get someone finds some gaffer tape. This is like when you used to play a sport in the backyard, you know, and you had to fix a wicket or you put some more tape around the ball. Yeah, they were all just like, and the commentary is hilarious because they're just going, this is the most A-League moment ever. Yeah. And so finally they lift up Costa Barbarouses, the Victory winger. They lift him up. The goalkeeper and the assistant coach, they lift him up to do to gaffer the net back on. Meanwhile, the crowd's chanting.
Players have done it themselves.
So the players are doing it themselves, and you just think, like, what if Costa had, like, the way when he finished, they let go of him and he held onto the frame.
What if he
and then
got
dropped
injured?
down? I just thought, if he does his ankle or his knee, like. And still no A-League official, apart from this one match official who was like having, I'm the supervisor. I have no idea.
What was the crowd doing at this stage?
17 minutes. 17 minutes.
Was
passed.
it 17?
Yeah,
and
17
then one of the players
minutes.
injured himself later on, whippersnippering around the edge of the ground.
Painting the line. Repainting the line.
Yeah. 17 minutes
17 minutes. And it's...
How did the crowd handle it? There was no...
They started laughing
flares,
and they started
violence.
chanting and they were cheering the Victory players because it was just... Someone was doing something, but everyone got how absurd it was.
Did Peter Hoare, did he have a tear down the eye? He's like, oh man, I've missed an opportunity here.
So, I mean, look, soccer fans, and I am a soccer fan, get very upset if anyone criticises their sport, but even they admit this was a bad look. It was like,
well, I think it comes down to, it's not even like soccer based, just someone at Etihad.
Yeah,
well, that's right.
Because
someone I'm assuming there's someone who put the nets
up. There's got to be a groundsman or someone in charge of that. Yeah, happens on the field. Everything on the field.
Do you think because the A-League now own it, Etihad, they went, we're not fixing this?
Yeah, that's too much. Can we claim this? Like, I want to know. And or is it the Victory's fault? They were 3-0 up at that stage. Like, are you just peppering too much?
Yeah,
like,
that's
ease
right.
up. That's a 2-goal net.
I'll tell you what, I'll be watching out
Don't
for.
go 3. They got to 5.
If you're the goalkeeper for a team and you're not going well, just in the A-League, just tug the net off its, off the
so it's like pulling the tape off the boxing gloves. Buy yourself some time.
Buy yourself some time.
I'll be watching
17 minutes.
I'll be watching the next game, A-League game to be played at Etihad, to see if they've fixed it by then or if the net's still held up by gaffer tape at the Coventry end.
There's a couple of Bulldog clips on it.
I saw one, I think it was Fox Sports where I read this story. They described it as a net calamity. Which, does that capture fully what it was?
Yeah, I think so.
They've had a few calamities this year, Football Australia.
Oh, that's not travelling well. Not travelling well at all. Now, listeners' questions. We've got a bunch sent in. Brett wrote in, are Richmond concerned that they've had a shorter turnaround time from last season compared to Carlton? That's a nice little sledge to your team there.
It's unnecessary. They have, and it won't matter, which is the bit that hurts the most.
What are you feeling about Carlton this year? What's your success, failure sort of scenarios?
I think it's that tipping year where we'll sort of hold around six-ish wins, and then you hope that next year is the year that they jump up and push towards the 8. Yeah, I think there's still a lot of second-year players in our midfield.
Yeah.
And so I don't see them blossoming too much.
So where do you see you finishing, like 14th or a bit higher, 12?
No, not that high. Yeah, probably 14 to 16 I'd be not happy with, but as long as we don't slip back too much.
You good as long as you go.
We did not need to lose Sam Doherty. There was one player who was like, he's all Australian, and then he goes down. It's just so all I want to see is if we can kick goals, because we just haven't done that in the last 2 years. Our defence is really short up again, like they did with Melbourne. Started at the back and moved forward.
Yeah.
I
was feeling
midfielders. And,
I was feeling very confident about Melbourne this year, and then I saw Kane Corns has tipped us to come first.
Yeah, to finish on top. He tipped Melbourne to finish on top.
He also tipped Geelong to miss the 8.
Yeah.
He's lost his mind.
No, but where I reckon, where he's smart is they all get it wrong, right? Like when they go back and publish their who do you think is going to win the Brownlow, they almost all get it wrong, right? So you might as well, like if you'd have
missed by a mile,
you might as well swing, go for a home run, and if you miss, it's not like you're kicked out of the footy media.
Yeah, that's true.
The footy media are not exactly held accountable for anything, so you might as well say if you'd said Richmond last year, you would have looked like a genius. But no one would have tipped Western Bulldogs and Richmond in the last few years.
Well, you guys will definitely play in the finals.
Quite a few. Robbo and a few others have predicted we won't even make finals.
Yeah, I think that's more so just because of Melbourne's, inconsistency and ability to,
or who they are.
Mick Malthouse said your players spend too much time looking at themselves in the mirror after a win.
Yeah, he said that on the weekend. No club is more happy with themselves after a victory than Melbourne.
This is a man who has a portrait of himself in his own living room that's about the size of a double door of a house. You go, you wouldn't want to just look at yourself in the mirror when you've got a painting of yourself, Mick.
He knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
Jim McCaffrey wrote in, Tony Cochrane and David Koch have said that Jeff Kennett should not be making outlandish statements in the media. Is that the equivalent of Bernard Tomic telling Jordan De Goey to pull his head in? There is pretty much the same. I mean,
it's not a bad
I thought
comparison.
Jeff has been slammed for saying about China and India, and I thought it was a fair point. He wasn't exactly like they're acting like he'd gone out on this crazy, which Jeff is inclined to do. But I didn't think saying China and India is a waste of money is necessarily like a scandalous.
Disagree with that. He also got into trouble for attacking St Kilda, calling them insolvent, and they
once again.
But if Port Adelaide, it's nothing to do with Jeff. If they can tap into the Collingwood, the China market, imagine being the first team with 1 billion members.
Oh, huge.
Even if it's a 3-game membership, it's not bad. Like, if you've got those ladders and you're leading other teams by 900 million.
And there won't be too many dogs signing on for memberships over there. Though.
Do you want to know, the thing about China that's very useful is if you don't have to win over the billion, you just need to win over the Communist Party. And make them dictate that you
tap
have
into
to
that.
barrack.
Yeah, right.
So that's what they should be doing.
Then you get Taiwan. You get a lot of the regions around there. Tibet, you just tap into the whole...
Just add it? Yeah, I think that's a good idea. So
get all your merchandise made in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Which they can pick up on the way to the AFLX.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. It's all coming together.
Yeah, you get an iPhone with your membership because they make them over there.
Yeah.
The kids make them for
exactly.
you. Yeah. That's had to be part of your junior membership. You get out of the factory earlier.
It's not bad. Well, they can play the Port games into the factories. So they've got something to watch. The kids love it.
Oh, Paul gets another form of torture.
Yeah. Give them a Zupa Duper at the end of their 12-hour shift.
There you go.
Nothing to cheer them up more.
Yeah.
Mark Hayward
wrote making sense all of a sudden.
Mark Hayward wrote in, with Jeff and Koshy seemingly relegating Eddie to third place in terms of opinionated egomaniac club presidents, what sort of stupid statement should Maguire and Collingwood make to arrest their continual slide into irrelevance? See, Eddie last week said Sam Newman should win a Walkley. For that time, he had that silent spat on Hutchie's last footy show. So that's a fair effort, I reckon.
Wow, so silent protest get a Walkley.
Cracking it because you can't make racist, sexist jokes does not, to me, necessarily lead you to a Walkley. As much
it's
as
not
people
necessarily
like to paint it as
a
freedom
high
of
point of
speech.
journalism, you would have thought.
Yeah, that's right.
Is that what Gandhi was about? Was he was going to be on the local the Delhi?
Gandhi was sick of snowflakes getting upset, being triggered by things. He used to say it all the time.
Yeah, he preferred the good old days.
Yeah, where you could just say it, call it as you see it.
Yeah.
I love when these guys say they're silenced and they're on the big, the way they've silenced themselves by their ratings declines. It's not exactly the exact same thing. Sarah wrote in, final question of today. What is the meaning of life? No time wasters. Serious answers only, please.
The thing I like about Sarah's question is the no time wasters.
Because she's listened to the podcast before.
Yeah. But if you're going to ponder something like what is the meaning of life, time wasting is possibly the only way you're going to get there.
Oh, this is getting deep. Put the bong down, Serge, and keep going.
Or do you think there should be a shot clock on this? Like if you're, you got your 30 seconds.
There's a great scene in The Good Place. Have you watched that series?
I have not seen that yet.
It's a great series, and the first one is he talks about how a stoner kid, basically, it's set in heaven, basically. I'm paraphrasing, but he goes, she asks, does any of the religions figure it out? He goes, no, this one stoner kid one day worked it out. And I can imagine this is what's going to happen on this podcast right now.
Yeah, okay.
They go, an obscure AFL podcast once sort of worked out the meaning of life. Yeah. I don't think there is a meaning of life.
Well, no, as you say, Sarah wants no time wasters. No tyre kickers.
To me, it's just fair umpiring. It's equal on both sides.
Yeah.
If you're going to pay holding the ball, then both sides get it. And if you drop your knees, it's not a free kick.
Fair umpiring,
that's what the meaning of life
and consistency.
Consistency. That's what we want, Serge.
That's what we want. Yeah. There you go, Sarah.
Yeah, done.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Get Adam in and it's done.
Life solved.
We've got the round one starting this week, so it's getting to the point in. Now, the Junktime podcast, when are you returning? When are you next on? When's your next episode?
So we're pretty much back now. We record after the final game on a Sunday evening, so it's usually out Monday morning.
So that'll be the next one for new listeners if they want to tune in.
Yeah, and if you are new to it, feel free to go back to our post-grand final show. We did one with the guys from Two Guys, One Cup, Will Anderson
and Charlie.
And Charlie Clausen, and we had Richard Di Natale.
Oh, that would have been a good one.
How was that?
Really good fun.
Because that was a live show. You did that at the
European Beer Cafe. Yeah. It was great. Richard Di Natale, who's a Tigers fan, he was fantastic, and it was a really fun afternoon.
Packed crowd?
Yes. Yeah.
That'd be good.
253.
Yeah, I heard it went really well. I listened to it on. I didn't go. I listened to it though. But
last time Richard Di Natale faced a
pro crowd.
Yeah.
They had a tough weekend down here in Melbourne town.
Yeah.
And your show, once again...
Yeah, it's called Hold My Beer. Go to comedyfestival.com.au. Starts March 28th through to April 8th.
And just 12 nights, so people have got to get in quick.
They do. They really do. They do.
And Serge is the next year, so he's got a bit of time to promote his.
Yes, that's true.
And so you're the 28th of March, yours kicks off. Mine's on the 29th, so people can do both easily. I'm on at 8:30. So you can watch mine, and then you can one night go and see yours, and another night go see Danny McGinley's. Perfect.
And I think on the 30th I'm going to see Kitty Flanagan.
You're going to see Kitty Flanagan?
There's my comedy festival news.
Serge, you're announcing you're going to watch one? Serge will appear in the audience of Kitty Flanagan's show. On that note, thanks for coming in. Absolute pleasure.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It was great.
Adam, it was great.
And we'll see you later in the week.